What is going on, guys? So I'm assuming you're leaving for basic training sometime soon and you're wondering what you can't bring to basic training. So this video is going to be pretty simple, and I'm going to kind of go over the basics of what you can't bring to basic training, because to be honest, you can't really bring all that much. But this topic is something that people ask me all the time, because I guess it's kind of understandable, because whenever you're leaving to go to basic training, you're kind of worried about what you're going to pack, because you're not going to get to like go back home to get something if you forget something. So whatever you pack, you're like, okay, do I need this? Do I need this? But long story short, you really don't need that much at all. So you can basically go with the clothes on your back, make sure you have your paperwork, you know, and you're basically going to be good to go. But what should you not bring to basic training? Starting off with that kind of like the basics, right? So if you're flying to basic training, obviously you can't bring any like knives or weapons or things like that. It does actually happen. So for people who are riding on buses to go to basic training, which means that you pretty much live close to a basic training post, you're gonna take a bus there. So make sure, like, if you have in your wallet, I actually did this myself. I have a where I had like one of those little wallet pocket knife things. And I remember on my way to basic training, I was taking a flight, so obviously I couldn't take it, so I had to throw it away. So if you have like some kind of like special knife or something that you just always keep with you, just make sure you don't have that. So obviously no weapons, that's the first big thing. The next thing that people ask me about a lot, and that is like reading material. You cannot bring any kind of reading material unless it's a religious book, basically a Bible or whatever your religion has, like the whatever holy book that is. You can bring that, but other than that, you can't bring any magazines, you can't bring newspapers, you can't bring your favorite book that you want to read, you can't bring this long book that you want to read down in your free time or whatever at basic training. Like, you can't bring any reading material whatsoever unless it is a religious book. And honestly, don't even recommend bringing like your Bible to basic training, because it could get messed up. So bringing your own personal Bible, it could get messed up, you know, with the way basic training works. Like, it could just get dirty, it could get wrinkled, it could get whatever, and then like you can go to church on Sunday and pick up a Bible there, so you don't necessarily even need to bring your Bible. Medications is another big one. If you don't have it on your paperwork and stuff with your recruiter, your MEPS and all that stuff, if the military doesn't know about it, if they aren't okay with you having that prescription, you know, drugs, prescription, whatever kind of medicine it is, you can't bring it. You can't have any, well, I guess technically you can have ibuprofen or naproxen or kind of those kind of things, but what you'll have to do is give it to your drill sergeants, and then you'll have to ask your drill sergeants every time like you want an ibuprofen, and I promise you, you don't want to do that. Like, your drill sergeants, like, everybody's gonna look at you like basically a wussy and be like, are you freaking kidding me right now? Like, why? Like, no, like that's so stupid. So save yourself some trouble, save yourself some embarrassment, and don't even bother bringing ibuprofen or any of those kind of things. Don't bring any medications that aren't approved. If you're curious, you know, if you're like, oh, I have, you know, whatever, you know, insert XYZ, you know, medication that you take, ask your recruiter to be safe. Don't ask me, because I'm not a medical doctor. I don't even know what certain things are. People ask me things all the time, you know, whenever it's medical related. That's probably like the least qualified field I am to talk about. But yeah, no medications unless it has been approved, and even then you're still gonna have to give it to your drill sergeant and then ask for it every time you need it. So a lot of people are curious about bringing watches to basic training. Yes, of course, you should 100,000% bring a watch to basic training, for sure. But you really should bring a cheap watch to basic training. I do not suggest bringing an expensive watch to basic training, because it's gonna get scratched up, it's gonna get dirty, it's gonna get messed up. And if you bring an expensive watch, it could get stolen. If you ever kind of like leave it off your wrist for some reason or take it off of your wrist, it could get stolen. So my tip for you guys is don't bring an expensive watch, bring a cheap watch. And then also, don't bring like any jewelry whatsoever. Like, there's really no point in bringing jewelry to basic training. It's just something that people are gonna be able to steal, because yes, people do steal things at basic training. Even though you should trust the soldier next to you, it's possibly gonna happen. There's kind of always gonna be that one guy in a group of 60 people that has got sticky fingers, and they're just like, oh, look, there's, you know, something, I can take that, I can take that. I promise you, it's probably gonna happen in your cycle, in your platoon. Somebody's gonna get something stolen. So it's in your best interest not to bring anything expensive, no jewelry, no expensive watches, just, you know, bare bones cheap watches. And while I'm thinking of this, no smartwatches. You can't bring smartwatches, no smartwatches. The next big thing is going to be food. You can't have any food, no drinks or anything whatsoever when you get to basic training. Whenever you do bring it to basic training, you're going to get to reception when you first get there, and you're just going to have to throw it away. So whatever kind of food or beverages or whatever you bring to basic training, you're just going to throw it away. So I would suggest not bringing it. So if you're really into some kind of like little protein bars or something, you can't have protein bars, you can't have candy, you can't have gum, you can't have any kind of food, you can't have cough drops. Like, you can't bring any kind of food with you to basic training whatsoever. Now, kind of similar to the food topic, you know, things that you definitely shouldn't bring: any tobacco products or alcohol. Don't bring any alcohol. That's just really stupid, especially if you're underage. Don't bring any tobacco. So cigarettes, dip, all that kind of stuff, that's a no-go. You can't have it. You're just gonna have to throw it away whenever you get there. And then, for the love of everything, don't try to sneak like a can of dip into basic training. Like, you are like literally could just get kicked out of the Army because you do that. So don't do that. I'm serious. I've seen it. I saw a guy who literally snuck dip, like a can of dip, got caught. It was ridiculous, and then got kicked out of the Army because of that. Now, I'm gonna say the last few things really quick. You don't wanna bring any kind of like MP3 player or radio or anything like that. Like, you're not gonna be able to bring in like a small radio and you're just gonna play it at the end of the day or whatever in the barracks. You can't do that. Like, any kind of electronics, you know, you can bring your cell phone, bring your phone charger, because you're gonna get that stored away, but like, don't be bringing like a radio or something or an MP3 player thinking that you can kind of sneak that. That's, again, don't do it. It's against the rules. Please just don't do that. The other thing that you can't bring is like poker things. So like playing cards, chips, things like that. You're not gonna be able to do any kind of like betting like that while you're at basic training. So if you're like super into poker and you're like, you know, maybe at the end of the day we can play some poker, you know, maybe you're not even gonna be betting, but you can't do that. So don't even bother bringing your cards. Don't bother bringing anything really, period, that is fun that you could play with. So that's kind of that. So whatever you can think of, like a toy, or maybe you like a Rubik's Cube, maybe you like, I don't know, some kind of little puzzle thing, you're not gonna be able to have it, so don't bring it. This one should be kind of self-explanatory, but you don't want to be bringing big items to basic training. It's just gonna be harder on you, because I've talked about before why you shouldn't bring a whole bunch of stuff to basic training. Same reason why you should not bring big things to basic training, because it's gonna be really bulky when you're going through the shark attack, when you're going through all this stuff. You don't want all kinds of crap to carry around. So if you're bringing something big, just don't bring it. Again, at the end of the day, you're probably gonna have to throw it away, so don't bring stuff that's huge. Like, just look at the packing list, bare bone minimum, basics, clothes on your back kind of thing, toothbrush, toothpaste, your, you know, a day's worth of shampoo. You can buy stuff at the PX when you get there. I've talked about this before in a previous video. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is pictures and things like that. You probably, from my experience when we went to basic training, they didn't let us have pictures. So what they made people do is, like, if you brought pictures, is to throw them away. So if you brought anything to read, if you brought any pictures, they made them throw those away. So like, if you want a picture of your girlfriend, I would honestly just put one in like in your wallet. Like, put a couple pictures of like your family in your wallet. You'll be able to have those, but don't be bringing, I don't know, like some big freaking, you know, 8.5 by 11 or whatever, like big picture of your girlfriend or your wife or your kids or whatever. Like, don't be doing that. So that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. That would be awesome. If you want to stick around some more videos, hit the subscribe button. That would be even better. And if you want to hit that notification bell button, it would definitely make my day. Follow me on Instagram and Snapchat if you haven't already. I hope you guys have an amazing freaking day, and I'll see you later.